So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today is a deeply disappointing day for students around the country, especially those living in rural and underserved communities. Today, Senate Republicans will vote to repeal a rule from the Federal Communications Commission to provide Wi-Fi hotspots to students at home. Let me repeat that. Republicans are tearing internet connectivity away from children. With this vote, Republicans are abandoning millions of students who lack the internet access needed to complete their homework, attend class, and reach their full potential. This repeal will widen educational disparities. It will deepen the digital divide. Only a few short years ago, the COVID-19 pandemic provided clear evidence for the need for this program. When schools shut their doors and turned to online instruction, the kids without access to the internet at home were put in a very impossible position. We saw stories of students sitting in parking lots outside fast food restaurants just to pick up a Wi-Fi signal strong enough to complete their assignments. A vote to support this resolution today is a vote to send kids back to fast food parking lots to complete their homework. That is unacceptable. In that moment of need, Congress stepped up. We passed the Emergency Connectivity Fund, a $7 billion program to help provide hotspots and other connectivity tools to students and educators. Demand was overwhelming. The program helped nearly 18 million students at 10,000 schools and libraries to connect to the internet. But that funding ran out, leaving millions of students across the country at risk of falling back into the digital divide. The FCC, under Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel, stepped up to fill that gap. Using existing FCC authority under the Communications Act, the Commission expanded the E-rate program to allow schools and libraries to loan out Wi-Fi hotspots to students and educators. The powerful rule change was designed to help level the playing field between disadvantaged students and their better connected classmates. After all, study after study has shown that students without access to broadband internet at home perform worse than their better connected classmates. In this way, the FCC decision was not radical. It was responsible. And today's vote is exactly the opposite. It is irresponsible, it is unfair, and it is cruel. The repeal doesn't make our schools stronger. It doesn't make our libraries better. It doesn't improve student outcomes. It doesn't save the government money. And all it does is strip away a lifeline. Today's vote, however, is not the end of the story. The House must still pass the CRA resolution to repeal the FCC's rule. I hope my House colleagues realize the foolishness of tearing internet access away from poor, rural, and disadvantaged students. And finally, I want to thank the many educators and librarians and students and other advocates who have fought for years to close the homework gap. I'm proud to stand with you in this fight today and in the days to come. We are going to just fight every single day in order to make sure that we can preserve this vital link for children in our country. Let me now turn to recognize my great partner in this fight from the state of New Mexico, the great Senator Ben Ray Luhan.
Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. And I want to thank Senator Markey for bringing us together today. I also want to acknowledge his leadership in this space and so many others, namely those surrounding telecommunications and broadband connectivity. Now, across the country, the E-rate program has helped connect millions of students to the internet. They need to succeed in today's world, especially in the most rural parts of America. Now, under the FCC's Wi-Fi hotspots, schools, libraries, students across the country, they can use existing funds to provide these Wi-Fi hotspots so that people can get connected, making sure students are able to access the tools they need to get their homework done, to study. Now, Senate Republicans are pushing a vote that will rob our students and educators of the very tools they need to succeed. Now, let me be clear, the E-rate hotspots, this rule, it's legal, it's efficient, it's proven, it's safe, and it requires no new funding. A constituent in Carlsbad recently reached out to me to help me better understand the negative impact here. And what she said was clear. Getting rid of Wi-Fi hotspots will hurt our libraries and schools who already have contracts in place and would make it harder for students to connect with teachers and classmates. Our students need high-speed, affordable internet access at home to do their homework, apply for college or jobs, and have the connectivity they need for success in the digital age. Students have estimated between 9 million to 15 million, studies have estimated between 9 and 15 million U.S. students lack adequate internet across the country at home. Let that sink in. 9 to 15 million kids, students. That's millions of kids who can't do their schoolwork, access online resources, or continue learning at home. And in New Mexico, 40% of students lack access to high-speed broadband. Now, the FCC's hotspots rule addresses this problem head-on. Senator Markey and I, together on the Telecommunications and Media Subcommittee, have pushed to strengthen the E-rate program for our students and educators. The program helped deliver these students and educators in low-income, tribal, rural, and underserved communities with a lifeline to learning. The E-rate program shouldn't be a partisan program. This is about students all across America. Today's Republicans-led vote won't save Americans money. What it's going to do is undo years of hard work to better connect students and educators across every community in America. But more importantly, it will leave our students and educators behind. Simply unacceptable. When we should be increasing connectivity, my Republican colleagues are working to tear at the very fabric of a program that's made a difference in millions of people's lives. I urge my colleagues not to turn their backs on their constituents, on our constituents, and simply vote to oppose this. We can work together to get this done. At the same time that Republicans are working to tear apart E-rate, they're also busy at work trying to eliminate funding to connect every corner of America, to make sure that there is more access to students that live on farms and ranches in rural parts of America. It makes zero sense when my Republican colleagues suggest that they want students to have access, but when no one's looking, they cast votes to take these programs away. It's wrong. Let's stand together and stop this nonsense. I now want to turn this back over to my colleague from Massachusetts, Senator Markey, who's been a leader in putting this together, to invite our next leader up.
Well, Ben Ray, you could have invited him.
Yeah, we want to invite him up. Invite him up.
It's always an honor to work with Chuck Schumer, with the work that he does and what he does to lead the way. He cares about students, he cares about families, and he cares about access to program. Invite my leader up, the great senator from New York, Chuck Schumer.
Thank you, Ben Ray.
Yes, sir.
I'm
going to shake your hand.
We have two great leaders here, one from New Mexico and one from Massachusetts. I'd be proud to be introduced by either one. And they both do great jobs on caring for kids. They share something in common. They have a passion for trying to make society just and fair. And when that means helping kids learn, that's one of the most important things we can do. Education has always been the ladder up. In this new world of education, we have to make sure that ladder up still works. And when kids have long bus rides, when kids have to, need a place to work quietly and it's at their home or library, we have to provide that. And this is just a mean, nasty amendment. There are so many. So I'm really proud to be here to speak against this shameful CRA. There are many words that can capture Trump's few months, but one is slash and burn. We know Elon Musk and Doge want to take a chainsaw to the federal budget, paying no mind to who it's hurting. And today, Senate Republicans are moving the clock back They're repealing modernization of E-rate. E-rate's been an extremely popular bipartisan program. But with this new way of thinking on the well, not altogether new, but this exaggerate, even worse way of thinking on the Republican side, they want to pull that back. Fewer students, are they telling us they want fewer students, fewer seniors, fewer veterans, particularly people in rural areas? I represent the third largest rural population in America, so I know what people go through. They want to pull that back? Well, that's what they're doing. It's just mean. It's ideological. They go to these right-wing crazy groups and say, see, we're doing just what you want. It's crazy, just crazy. This program has helped people in red states, blue states, purple states, schools and libraries in every state. 46 out of 50 receive the funding. Why? Go ask Ted Cruz. What's his answer? It's got to be convoluted and ideological. I can't even imagine what it would be. We'll hear what he has to say on the floor and feel horrible about it. But that doesn't stop us. We're going to fight this tooth and nail. My wife is the COO of the New York Public Library, so I have a particular instance in that regard because I know what good libraries do. Let me just say something about the libraries in New York City. I'm sorry. Got a lot going on here. Call you back, Mark. The kids, our libraries had to close at 6 p.m. because we didn't have enough money. And the kids in poor neighborhoods, many of them immigrant kids, would sit themselves on the steps and against the walls of the library to get the bleed so that they could do their, and when my wife took me, they're not playing video games, they're doing their work, which they weren't able to do any other place. Now this at least lets them go home and be able to study and learn and do their homework in a much better way. So the Trump administration is just focused on decimating public education by gutting the education department, by hiking up local taxes, by forcing Americans to pay more to educate their kids. This is another horrible example. I'm so glad that Senators Markey and Luhan are taking the lead. I'm with them all the way.
Next, we're going to hear from Joey Wender, Executive Director of the Schools, Health, and Libraries Broadband Coalition. Welcome, Joey.
Thank you, Senator Markey. And it's really incredible to have a trifecta of leadership and vision here with us today. Senators Markey, Senator Luhan, and obviously Leader Schumer here today. I'm Joey Wender. I'm the Executive Director of the Schools, Health, and Libraries Broadband Coalition. Our mission is to ensure that anchor institutions around the country, which are really the heartbeat of our communities, schools, libraries, health clinics, have access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet. So the message is simple. We know what the problem is, and we know what the solution is. The problem is there still is a digital divide in this country. There still is a homework gap. Senator Luhan talked about the 9 to 15 million children out there, students today, that lack access at home. Right, these are low-income children, these are rural children. And it's also about low-income constituents who go to libraries, library patrons, and rural library patrons around the country. We know what the problem is. We also know what the solution is. The solution are hotspots. You know, the ECF, under Senator Markey's incredible leadership during the pandemic, kick-started this hotspot effort. And now the commission took it the next step to put in place this hotspot program so that students can do their homework at home, so that library patrons can search for jobs and seek medical care. So the FCC designed a great program, a financially responsible program, a safe program. Yet the Senate today is going to take a step, unfortunately, to potentially roll back this program. And let me just talk for a second about the consequences and then turn it over to my other colleagues here today. If this resolution becomes law, the FCC will not only have to reject the current pending applications of thousands of schools and libraries around the country that have applied for over 200,000 hotspots in this year alone, but the FCC would be barred from doing this ever again. Ever again. That is the consequence of passing a CRA resolution. And so I'm here with a simple message on behalf of schools and libraries from around the country. We urge the Senate to vote no on the resolution today. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa with ALA.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Varga, and I am the Associate Executive Director of the American Library Association's Public Policy and Advocacy Office. Libraries exist in every community, in every state, and are open to everyone. Today, virtually all of our nation's libraries offer internet access to the public. Compare this to 1996, when Congress first mandated the E-rate program. Then, only 28% of library systems offered public access to the internet. Nearly 30 years and $600 million later, E-rate has helped change the public library's information technology landscape and provided internet access to almost every community in the nation. Libraries are experts in lending materials that their communities and patrons need, and this includes Wi-Fi hotspots. Libraries have been lending Wi-Fi hotspots for over a decade, and approximately half of all public libraries now lend them. We lend them in response to demand from communities who need flexible, at-home solutions to complete schoolwork, apply for jobs, and stay connected to family and friends. ALA research shows that library hotspot programs support everything from veteran job training programs to access during emergencies to homebound adults or homeschooling families. And I just want to give an example from Virginia. The Williamsburg Regional Library was the first one in the country to convert their bookmobile into a Wi-Fi hotspot and park it in scheduled locations during the beginning of COVID. Now they are applying for E-rate funding for hotspots to support learning and engagement. The Indianapolis Public Library offers Wi-Fi hotspots and Chromebooks for patrons to use to pay bills, search for jobs, and build digital skills. A library patron shared, "This program is helping me so much. I'm at a domestic violence shelter, and without this program, I wouldn't be able to get my bachelor's degree and start a new life." The Indianapolis Public Library applied for 320 hotspots under the E-rate program to sustain and expand this critical work and aid in skill building and college and career development. Nationwide, there are libraries and schools in nearly every state who are counting on E-rate hotspots to support their patrons and learners. The Senate's vote on Tuesday was deeply disappointing and leaves thousands of libraries and schools on the hook for contracts they've carefully negotiated and prepared for. It prevents libraries and schools from distributing these hotspots in underserved and rural communities and perpetuates opportunity gaps for the same communities that the program is intended to help. E-rate is wildly popular and wildly successful. We have celebrated together many advances as technology and connectivity needs have evolved. This vote not only ends the opportunity for libraries and schools now, but terminates any opportunity for advance and future of the program. The American Library Association calls on the Senate to vote no today against the measure and ensure that the hotspot program can move forward. At the heart of E-rate is the goal to connect Americans and close the digital divide. We will continue to fight for the program and demonstrate the impact E-rate and libraries have for all of us. Thank you for standing with us and for showing up for E-rate today. I'd like to pass it on to David Schuler.
Thank you so much. I'm David Schuler, Executive Director of AASA, the School Superintendents Association. And I'm here to speak in support of the E-rate program and preserving one of its most important tenets, empowering schools and libraries to provide hotspots. AASA is the national organization representing the nation's more than 13,000 public school superintendents. In my role at AASA, I also serve on the board of directors for the Universal Service Administrative Company, USAC, the independent entity that oversees administration of the Universal Service Fund and its 4 programs, including E-rate. I'm here speaking on behalf of AASA today. We have proudly championed E-rate since its inception in 1996, and we remain committed to the program and its critical role in ensuring our nation's students and library patrons have equitable access to affordable broadband. AASA is opposed to Senate Joint Resolution 7, a Congressional Review Act resolution that would rescind the FCC's order to expand E-rate eligibility, including wireless hotspot lending programs in schools and libraries. Rolling back this policy would have a devastating impact to students and to families who rely on internet access beyond the school building. As we gather today, nearly 20,000 schools and libraries have submitted applications to apply for hundreds of thousands of hotspots to help students complete homework, access digital learning tools, and stay connected to their teachers and communities. If this resolution passes, those applications, those children will be left offline and left behind. Our nation continues to grapple with the digital divide that disproportionately affects low-income, rural, and historically underserved students. Now is not the time to roll back access and connectivity. Data from Common Sense Media estimates that up to 15 million students lack adequate internet access at home. We know, my friends, we know hotspots are a proven, cost-effective solution, helping students participate in virtual tutoring, complete college and job applications, and access emergency services, especially in rural communities where connectivity options are limited. Opponents of this policy have misplaced fears about inappropriate content being accessed through these devices. But facts matter. The FCC order mandates content filtering and adherence to the Children's Internet Protection Act. Claims to the contrary are simply false and ignore the technology safeguards that are in place. Schools and libraries in 46 states have applied for these funds, illustrating far-reaching bipartisan support for hotspot access. This program is anchored in sound policy. The FCC implemented a 3-year funding cap, accountability measures, and cost-sharing requirements that mirror long-standing E-rate program standards. It is a targeted, transparent, and fiscally responsible way to close the homework gap and expand opportunity. Rescinding this rule through the misguided direction of the CRA would not only end this program, but prohibit the FCC from ever revisiting it. That is just extreme and unnecessary. If members of Congress have legitimate concerns, we would love to have a substantive discussion. But that conversation should happen at the FCC, where public input can inform and shape outcome, not through a resolution that permanently cuts off opportunities for millions. The digital divide is real. It's urgent. And for many students and children, this program is their only chance at staying connected. So we urge the members of the Senate to vote no on Senate Joint Resolution 7. Don't disconnect our kids, and don't dismantle the lifeline that schools, libraries, and communities across the country are depending on. Thank you. And I will turn it over to Regina.
Thank you, David. My name is Regina Bell. I'm a librarian here in Washington, D.C., and the General Vice President of the Washington Teachers Union. I am irate about what some in the House and Senate want to do about the E-rate program. The digital divide is real. Internet access is essential for students to be prepared for school, for life, and for work in today's economy. 12 million K-12 students in the United States lack adequate internet access or devices at home. It is not confined to the most rural communities. As an educator in DC public schools, I can tell you that students right here in the nation's capital struggle to access affordable and reliable Wi-Fi. Completing homework assignments on a cell phone is not the optimal way to learn. It just isn't. For 27 years, the E-rate program has made reliant and consistent internet access through schools, public libraries, a reality for so many Americans who would not otherwise have it. It was a lifeline during the pandemic and continues to be a vital resource of access to internet connectivity for many students across the country in small towns, suburbs, and cities. For a student, being able to get online and find what they need is a matter of dignity in today's classroom. It strengthens a child's confidence to be able to know they can complete an assignment and find answers to the questions they have. With a much reduced and restricted E-rate program, we would simply fail to provide students with all they need to succeed in today's world. It was a game changer when the Federal Communications Commission allowed schools and libraries to use their E-rate funds to loan Wi-Fi hotspots to students and educators. They were meeting students and educators where they were. By moving to invalidate this rule, the Senate's Republicans are doing the opposite. They are punishing students just to be able to say they have reversed a Biden-era policy. As a librarian, it really troubles me that the members of the Senate would choose to go in the opposite direction and take resources and connectivity from students who need it. This should not be a partisan issue. This should be a common sense response to the needs of students who lack the connectivity they require to be successful in the classroom. We can and must do better than that. We should be increasing access to reliable internet connectivity, not decreasing it. We should be expanding E-rate, not attacking it. It is especially insulting that this is being done during Teacher Appreciation Week. As a public school educator, a librarian, a parent, and a voter, I am calling on each and every senator to do the right thing and not reverse a policy that helps students. Thank you.
Beautiful job. Thank you, Virginia. Are there any questions? We're going to fight, and ultimately we will win. Thank you all so much. Thanks for being here.